Meanwhile, there's some new concerns on the U.S. Gulf Coast because right now Tropical Storm Ian is strengthening in the Caribbean and is forecast to batter Florida as a major hurricane next week. NBC's Maggie Vespa is following Fiona for us in Halifax, and we welcome you, Maggie, but we're going to begin with you, meteorologist Bill Karen. So, tell us about the concern now growing over this tropical storm Ian. What's the latest on that, Bill?
Alex, there has been a lot of changes overnight and even this morning. The biggest thing is that we were mostly focused the last couple of days on the Florida Peninsula. So that's pretty much talking about the area that goes north to south and not so much the Panhandle. And now that appears to be switching. We're trending west with the storm. So let me give you the latest from the Hurricane Center. It's still a tropical storm, but it's only going to grow from here. It probably has about 3-4 days to just get stronger and stronger and stronger over very warm water. It may weaken a little bit before it makes landfall sometime Wednesday time frame, maybe Thursday if it's up there in the Panhandle. So again, right now it's just about south of Jamaica, not really affecting any land areas. So let me take you out through the next 2 days. The Hurricane Center tomorrow does strengthen pretty rapidly. By the time we get to Monday morning, up to a Category 2 hurricane, approaching western Cuba or maybe even near Cancun or Cozumel sometime Tuesday morning as a Category 3. So that brings them to a major hurricane status. You notice that cone of uncertainty. You don't focus so much on that center line. What has changed dramatically in the last 12 to 24 hours is Miami is no longer in that cone of uncertainty. Much of the Florida Keys, who yesterday were expecting to get hit with the brunt of the storm, is almost out of the cone. In the same breath, the cone is now shifted. It includes Tallahassee, it includes Panama City, and I wouldn't doubt if later today that cone shifts over and includes areas like Pensacola, because the trend has been to the west. So let me show you some examples of this. We do think it will be approaching land at least Category 2 to Category 4. So somewhere in a very serious category. It's too early to tell for intensification. We're still 4 days away. The current path is shown with the black line there from the Hurricane Center, and that would of course bring tropical storm force winds all to the western half of Florida. But I still think this is going to shift more to the west, and that would take some of those stronger winds away from Miami, West Palm Beach, Fort Pierce, Jupiter, Melbourne area, all the way up through the Space Coast. So again, still a lot to be decided. This was last night's runs of our computers. The Euro had it right over central Florida. The American GFS model was off the coast. Since then, the new American model is just on its way in right now, and it is much further to the west, more heading up towards Pensacola or Panama City. We'll wait and see. The new Euro model doesn't come in for another about 2 hours. We'll see if that also shifts west. A lot of our computer lines have shifted west too. Notice all those lines now trending toward what we call the Big Bend area of Florida, near Apalachicola and Tallahassee, where some of those other ones are from Tampa. So it's good news for some, Alex. The people in Miami are saying, okay, this is better for us in South Florida. But everyone on the west coast of Florida is now all through the Panhandle. So like, oh boy, here we go again. Panhandle, it's so many times.
And you make a good point about the Space Coast. If you will, NASA has canceled in a preemptive measure that Tuesday scheduled launch of the rocket just in case. Keeping an eye on that. Thank you, Bill.
You seen it?
The scope of the damage from this deadly hurricane has become painfully clear tonight. We have just learned this evening that Ian is now a hurricane again, growing stronger, winding up for another devastating blow as it now moves north and right up the east coast. Here in southwest Florida tonight, Ian struck as a Category 4 hurricane, just shy of a Category 5 24 hours ago. And this evening we have now learned the storm surge was record-breaking and deadly. The flooding not just on the coast, but of course inland too. Tonight there are urgent rescues underway, and the death toll is climbing. President Biden has warned that there could be a, quote, substantial loss of life right here in Florida. At this hour, Ian is now a hurricane again at Category 1, 75 miles an hour. Are the winds now moving back into the warm Atlantic waters, forecast to crash back ashore in South Carolina sometime tomorrow. And we have new images tonight of Ian's fury, the eye wall plowing through Placida, Florida, ripping homes to shreds there. The storm surge overpowering this building at Fort Myers Beach, lifting it right off its foundation, washing it away. And tonight, of course, the damage the storm left behind. This Fort Myers Beach community left in splinters. The ground littered with debris. Along the shore, a pile of boats unmoored. And far from the coastline tonight, neighborhoods flooded for miles, one home on fire with no way to fight the flames. And the major damage to infrastructure across the region. The Sanibel Causeway severely damaged tonight and unusable. Nearly 2 million people still without power in this state tonight. And on the northeast coast of Florida, Ian arriving as a tropical storm in St. Augustine. At peak high tide, Orlando getting record rain and flooding, rescues taking place there. And the efforts to rescue families remain underway statewide. In Naples, a car window smashed to free the driver inside. In Tampa, boats ferrying people to safety from their flooded homes. And in Orlando, more than 100 residents rescued from a nursing home where sandbags failed to keep the water out. Our team across the storm zone tonight, in fact the Coast Guard, a Rear Admiral with the Coast Guard, Brendan McPherson, is right here with us tonight on the rescues taking place at this hour. What they're seeing, the conditions inside these homes, what's left of them. But first, what we've seen, the destruction across this state. Tonight, the deadly toll of Hurricane Ian, the massive destruction here in Florida, coming into clearer focus. The deadly storm making history as one of the most powerful hurricanes ever to make landfall here in southwest Florida. And along with the hurricane, the staggering amount of rain. A once-in-a-thousand-year rainfall, we're calling it here. Bridges destroyed, homes on fire, entire neighborhoods underwater in Fort Myers. The Lee County Sheriff surveying the devastation, capturing these images tonight. The shorelines decimated, plumes of thick black smoke in this neighborhood. The Sanibel Causeway washed away, cutting the island off to the mainland. From the ground, Fort Myers Beach, level, the pier, gone. The catastrophic damage, power lines catching fire, nearly 2 million still without electricity tonight. 20,000 Florida Power and Light crews racing to restore power here, across this state. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis.
The impacts of this storm are historic, and the damage that was done has been historic.
President Biden in touch with Governor DeSantis again today. The president speaking of the enormous human toll here and the real fear that toll could rise dramatically. The president at FEMA headquarters today.
This could be the deadliest hurricane in Florida's history. The numbers are still unclear, but we're hearing early reports of what may be substantial loss of life.
Tonight, at least 7 confirmed deaths. Hospitals evacuated amid the floods. Search and rescue teams fanning out. The Nassau County Marine Unit rescuing 2 people on their sailboat overnight, grabbing them and pulling them to safety. Naples Fire and Rescue smashing windows to get to this driver. While other members of the fire department wade through waist-deep water as they unload their fire truck, submerged in the waters here. They have been rescuing families, bringing them back to the fire station. Dozens of large Chinook and Black Hawk helicopters performing rescues. And these images tonight of the U.S. Coast Guard airlifting stranded people from rooftops near Sanibel Island. 1,000 FEMA personnel deployed here, supplying millions of liters of water and meals, and hundreds of generators. Charlotte and Lee counties reporting more than 500 rescues, more than 300 rescued in Orlando. In this neighborhood, local police teaming up with the National Guard. Orange County Fire Rescue racing in with stretchers to rescue seniors in the Avante Assisted Living Facility. Hurricane Ian making landfall as a strong Category 4 hurricane, just shy of a Category 5. The record-breaking storm surge. Whoa. Ripping roofs off homes, sending debris flying. This time-lapse of Fort Myers Beach showing floodwaters taking over the streets. Boats floating away.
There's like 3 boats. There's 4 boats.
4 of them. We don't know whose cars most of these are.
The family riding out the storm in their grandmother's home, watching from the windows as cars and homes float by.
This is a house from across the street at the beach.
Walking outside, the palm trees bending in the wind.
Somebody's RV came in our backyard. That's our pool. That's our deck. That was my house. My house is gone.
On the ground here, we met Josefa Arsada Munoz, who left home to ride out the storm with family, only to find her home badly damaged today. She said it was terrifying. They could feel the hurricane blowing inside the house. We don't want to go through that again. But at least you're okay and the family's okay. We're glad. And the Loeb family, Sam, his 7-year-old son Mason, staying with their pastor because the pastor's home is built of brick. They couldn't get back to their home today because of the floods. Any word on your house?
Yeah, we had all the barns, we had 2 or 3 barns there, they all blew away.
In Tampa, powerful wind gusts sending this tree crashing into a home. In St. Augustine, this SUV submerged, the boat behind it rocking the waves. And that father tonight, grateful they left their home to seek safer shelter, now knowing what so many now face. I'm sure you're feeling pretty blessed you were here.
For sure, yep. Yep, God kept us safe. I know a lot of people weren't so fortunate.
That decision to stay with their pastor instead made all the difference.
A treacherous night ahead for Florida as darkness begins to fall and Hurricane Ian continues its catastrophic rampage. The Category 4 storm moving at an excruciatingly slow pace. Only 8 miles per hour forward progress, not much faster than a person going for a jog. More than 1 million Floridians have no power right now. Hurricane Ian made landfall, tied as the 5th most powerful storm ever to hit the United States. A Category 4 hurricane, maximum sustained winds 150 miles an hour, just shy of a Cat 5. The center of the storm struck Cayo Costa, a barrier island west of Fort Myers and Cape Coral in Lee County. And this is Fort Myers Beach, as a barrage of wind and water slammed the city. Forecasters had warned that the storm surge would be unsurvivable, up to 18 feet in some spots. A short time ago, Lee County officials said people were calling for 911 help, but they were stranded in high water. But they had to hold back their rescue teams because conditions are still too dangerous. To give you an idea of how ferocious the winds there were, look at this. Englewood Beach, right by the eye wall of the hurricane, shortly before it made landfall. This webcam did not last long after this moment. It froze and got knocked offline just minutes later. And this is a parking lot in Naples during the peak of the storm. The storm surge topping a record-breaking 9 feet there. Floodwaters picking up cars and smashing them together. The water reaching the balconies of second-story beach condos. And this refrigerator removed from a home and bobbing violently in the waves. Again, this is normally a parking lot. And look at this fire station. The storm surge swamping fire trucks and ambulances. Firefighters scrambling to get their gear out of the water as it continued to rise higher and higher, flooding the cab of a ladder truck. Images of sheer destruction are emerging. This is a photo from Fort Myers Beach. The shredded remains of buildings and homes floating by. It appears to be the roof on the top of the garage of the wreckage. Sadly tonight, there is much we do not know. especially about the barrier islands where this incredibly powerful storm came ashore. We've heard little from Captiva, little from Sanibel, very little from the 5 barrier islands along Charlotte County. We know they had a storm like nothing that coast had ever seen. We don't yet know what happened to anyone who stayed behind. We begin tonight with NBC's Ali Velshi, who's live in Naples for us tonight, where we watched him all day long with remarkable stories. Ali, what are you seeing tonight?
Well, it's what I'm not seeing, Shep, that's remarkable. This is that parking lot that you were just referring to, which was flooded. It is now almost all come down. You can see those are the condos across that I was showing on TV earlier. There was water all the way to those balconies, so that's dropped by about 10 feet. And if you turn around here, I'm going to ask Randy to show you the Gulf of Mexico. What you see here is beach for the first time in 6 hours. We didn't see sand. We couldn't see anything. Now, there are a number of things that are still going on. One is we're in Collier County. They say they have people who are trapped. Downtown Naples has still got water flooding in it, but they've also redirected the phone calls that are going to Lee County, which you were just talking about, to Collier County, and there are people who are desperate for help. So they're actually putting out word in this county, please don't call us unless it's a dire emergency. We can't come and get you anyway. Those barrier islands, they're trying to figure out who didn't leave those barrier islands. And we're under mandatory evacuation, but all that means is that if you don't leave, then they won't come and rescue you until they can. And they can't. The winds are not down enough anywhere on the western coast of Florida. The water's not far enough gone, so there's not even going to be a beginning to rescues and things like that until tomorrow, let alone the 1.5 million plus people who don't have power in Florida, and that number's going up, and a lot of people without cell phone service. So, as you say, we're starting to see the end of this thing, the back of it, in points north of me, in Tampa, and northeast of that to Orlando and Jacksonville. They're actually still seeing the worst of it because the storm has slowed down to really the speed at which a human can walk, and that's just going to saturate the ground, and more trees and poles are going to come down, and that's going to cause more outages. So there is a lot that the state continues to face, and we probably won't know until the sun comes up again how much damage there actually is. There's some relief that we're seeing the back of it, but it's nowhere close to over.
In that way, it feels like we're waiting for the morning after Andrew. You know, Ali, I know they just got twice the storm surge they've ever gotten, and I know there's a lot we don't know, but lots of people are trapped and need rescue, and they're not getting it until tomorrow. Is that right?
And what we saw here is that if you lived in the first floor, you were in big trouble. If you had a second story, we're on a second story balcony. We've been on this balcony all day, and at one point we contemplated, do we need to go higher? So there are people who are trapped. We do know that. There are structures that are damaged. In fact, right here, there's one. And yes, we do not know because they can't get out there. We know that there are 40,000 people ready to fix the electrical lines, but they can't get out to even start doing it. So there's a lot of damage that we haven't even begun to see, what it looks like. At least in a place like this, everybody gets to sleep tonight, hoping it's better in the morning. There are parts of Florida where this storm is right above them, raining down with heavy, heavy winds. It's a problem for a lot of people across the state.
Before we go, you've been going to these things for decades. Ever seen anything quite like this?
I have never witnessed storm surge the way I did today. I've conceptualized it. I understand it to be flooding. We know that in America, the water is generally more damaging than the wind. I have never seen it the way I did today. Within an hour, we went from this being an entirely manageable situation to us looking at each other, saying, what's going on here? I'll tell you this, Shep. We all have rental cars. We have no idea where our cars are. It's on the other side of the building. We haven't seen them. And from what I saw today with all these cars that have floated away, we'll wait till morning to find out.
with some of those survivors today?
Yeah, Christine, even 8 months later, we're still meeting people every day that are still trying to recover and really have a lot of nerves going into this next hurricane season. Now, the island has come a long way since Hurricane Ian, but as you can see behind us, still a long way to go. The small town of Fort Myers Beach is getting ready for another hurricane season.
You kind of lost time in the middle, so it's hard to say how long.
But for some locals on the island, it feels like the last hurricane season never ended.
It's a hurricane every day you come here. You look around and you go, wow, hurricane hit here.
On September 28th, 2022, Mike Hughes lost nearly everything. His house, his business, and his 2 best friends that didn't survive the storm surge.
We still have our lives, but 2 of my best friends on the beach died.
As the new hurricane season begins, we met him in the same place it started, where trauma has settled in for many locals.
We had a decent storm a few weeks ago, and the walls were shaking a little, and it was getting pretty bad, and you got that sort of, I guess they call it PTSD sort of thing, where you're like, oh my God, here it comes again.
For some, recovery has been slow.
My personal rebuild has not happened yet, so it's, I'm trying to do different things, like I know a lot of us that were business owners had to go out and get real jobs, and actually work for somebody else and that kind of stuff. And we're trying to do whatever we can to get by.
As cleanup continues, locals are starting out this hurricane season with a harsh reality check.
No, I won't stay for a tropical storm in a trailer anymore, because I've seen what can happen.
And one sign of hope for many people here is that the National Weather Service is predicting a normal hurricane season, but still predicting anywhere from 12 to 17 named storms. In Fort Myers Beach, Caroline Elliott, Fox 5 News.
Today again, the first day of hurricane season, and thank you, Caroline. We want to